Happy Monday, everyone. This is Martha with Nature Niche, and this week I want to describe how you can plan for native plantings this fall. Before the snow flies and covers up the ground cover, now is a great time to assess your plantings, and you can even do some site prep and maybe even get some dormant native seeding done in time for spring germination. I know we're all busy this time of year getting ready for the holidays, but getting your plantings and seedings planned out and the materials ordered is best done well in advance of when you plan to execute the work.
Hi, I'm Jenny, and Martha came out to my house today to help me create a plan for what I'm going to do with my front area. This area used to be a bunch of different things. It used to be very wild because I moved here and built. So during construction, a lot of it got kind of destroyed. And then we destroyed it some more when we turned it into a garden. There was a lot of sun here, so we plowed up a bunch, and then we got rid of that. And then we had a little chicken coop with some little tiny chickens, and so it was a chicken area. And my son outgrew that, so then it just turned into kind of a nothing weedy area. And my son came out one day and he said, This is terrible. Let's do something nice with this, more natural." And so I immediately thought of Martha and Nature Niche and what they do, what they have out there, and said that's the kind of expertise that I want in helping. So she came out and we looked at the area, the size of the area, and came up with a plan with all kinds of native plants that will support the wildlife, kind of incorporate the fence here, put some more bush kinds of things, and then kind of gradually do some smaller things and some ground covers, a variety in there, and some grasses. We're going to start with seed over the winter. We've done some prep. My son was great in helping to burn the area to get some of it out of there, and then we got a little bit of invasive species that we gotta get out. So we're gonna try to do some management of those, maybe with some hand removal and then some herbicide kinds of things. So there's kind of a nice long-term plan with what we're gonna do. So I'm very excited. We're gonna get started now in beginning to get some seed in, ordering some seed. I love the kinds of seeds. We went through a discussion of a lot of different kinds of seeds and plants and everything. I'm really excited about what we're gonna do. So thanks, Martha.
So that was a great introduction Jenny gave us of her project. I just want to talk through the general steps and things we thought about to get to that game plan for her. It's good to start with, what are your goals for the planting? As Jenny described, this area has been a number of things over time, and now they're looking for something that has some deer resistance, but also provides wildlife habitat. She mentioned pollinators and birds, small mammals, and having a natural look. She didn't want anything as formal. And then the second step is to do a site assessment. You want to think about, what existing vegetation do you have, and do you want to keep that or not? And what invasive species might you have to deal with before you invest time and money into doing native plantings or native seeding. So for this little site, we looked around and saw that there are maples and oaks providing a fair bit of shade. I would say part sun, part shade is what this particular site has. Because they had used this as a burning area and done a little prep, there's a fair amount of bare ground, which is great for doing a fall seeding. Not a whole lot of prep needed there. And I did advise, she has a couple of Colorado blue spruces that aren't really happy with that shade, and aren't looking too good, and I think just removing those would give her some more planting space. So we talked about that. And then, as she pointed out, she does have a little bit of invasive vinca. Some people call it myrtle or periwinkle. It's a very common traditional landscaping ground cover, but is quite invasive in woodland habitats. So we talked about removing that. And it's also good during that site assessment to get a sense of, how big the area is. So we paced it off and estimate about 50 feet by 50 feet roughly. And then you want to think about what's your approach. How do you want to do the planting? Do you want it more formal with lots of planted potted material? If you're okay with a more natural look, seeding, native seeding is often a more cost-effective route to go. And out here and talking, Jenny and I, I think settled on a combination of doing both native seeding and some specific planting of shrub material and spring and fall blooming species to supplement the woodland edge native seed mix that we picked out. And as far as plant selection goes, I would point you towards Monday with Martha number 56, where I talk in detail about how do I pick the right native plants for my landscape. But here we were thinking about dry, part shade, and for the seed mix that she had, we decided to pick out some supplemental species that added more spring bloom and more fall blooms to help support pollinators across the whole season. So things like we added some more goldenrods and some more spring blooming things like wild geranium. And then we also picked out some ground cover species that establish better with actual plug planting rather than trying to establish by seed. So things like Canada anemone, wild strawberry, wild ginger, and that's to help Jenny with getting this area to really fill in. As those ground cover species fill in, they retain moisture in the soil and help suppress weed growth. And those, the spring and fall bloomers, planting in clumps is good. So 2, 3, 4 plants about 12 inches apart. On those ground cover species, you can actually get away with spacing them throughout the planting a little more, about 10 feet apart. And then for calculations, as part of that, we know that this is a 2,500 square foot area. The seed mix we selected gets seeded at 5 ounces per 1,000 square feet. So we calculated she needs 12.5 ounces of seed to do her seeding project. And then the 5th step, the last one, is to think about preparation and ordering of your plant material. So because this area was already burned, I think she's good to order seed now. Go ahead and get that down this late fall through winter. And if you want to see more about doing like winter frost seedings, check out Monday with Martha number 45. I do a demonstration of that at my store. And then timing wise, she can hand pull the invasive species, that vinca that she has to deal with. It is too late in the season to herbicide, but herbicide is an option next spring if she sees it coming back. And then there's a turf grass area that she's thinking about just converting to part of this native seeding. So she could try burning that in the spring, and if it sprouts back, she could also do herbicide and just set aside a portion of her seed mix to use in seed next spring once that site preparation is done. But I think she's good to calculate numbers and order the potted material. It's always good to order early. If you're doing a spring planting, think like February, March. It's good to really have a game plan together. And plan to get those plants installed in mid to late May, even into early June. So thank you, Jenny, for letting me document your project and help with it. I'm very excited to see how it turns out. Jenny and I hope that by sharing how we formulated a game plan that inspires you to get out there, take a look at your planting areas, and formulate a plan for more native plantings of your own. Take care and have a good week.